Alright, so just the other day I make a full WrestleMania 30 preview video. Get them all put up, talk about all the matches, and what do you know, in the matter of 2 days, they add 3 more matches. I guess so in these next few videos I'm going to be covering up the WWE Tag Title match, the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational match. That's going to be a good one. And then also we're going to be talking about the Kane and the New Age Outlaws going up against the Shield. In this first video I'm going to be talking about the tag team match, and then we'll go on from there. Wow. I mean, I don't know why they needed to make this sort of like a four corners match. I'm not 100% sure if this is like the first pinfall wins all, or they're going to go back to the old days of when they actually had a tag team division at the older WrestleManias. They would do it elimination style until they basically the last pinfall got to win it all. But we got the champions, the Usos, going in there looking strong. They're going to be fighting against Cesaro and Swagger, Los Matadors, and then the team of Ryback and Curtis Axel. Not a whole lot going on in here. I'm honestly going to say that I've been a big fan of the Usos for a good little while. I'm not the biggest fan of them having the face paint. I liked them before the face paint. I go back to the days when they first came in and they first debuted, and they were beating up the Hart Dynasty, and they looked like they were building towards a big sort of trios match with the Usos and Tamina coming down to the ring, and they would... I kept remembering that one of the Usos were coming in there to do that jump off the top rope, the big splash, and one of them 2 weeks in a row fucked up jumping up onto the top turnbuckle. Something they practiced on forever and ever. If you remember back in the days, the Usos were they weren't really like the Islander guys that they are now. They were like I forgot what their gimmick was really called, but they dressed real nice, and they talked about stealing people's college scholarships and internships and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. I'm honestly going to tell you that the team that I want to win this match is probably the Usos. Even though Cesaro and Swagger are going strong in there, everybody knows that the split is coming sooner than later with Cesaro and Swagger. It's almost like they had too many teams that were going to be splitting at one time, so they backed off on both of them, and then they didn't realize that probably the people that were on charge of the creative team that were in charge of the other guys weren't going to split the Shield up as well, so Cesaro and Swagger's turn got put on ice. Somebody is going to turn on somebody, and it's if I had to bet, it's going to be the Shield. Cesaro's going to be a huge star. They'll find him a way out of this tag team in the next upcoming months, but I honestly want to know what they're going to do with Swagger when he moves on from this team. Cesaro, I know, is going to be a star. He looks like he should have been a star from day one a long time ago. But that'll cover them. Los Matadors, I think they're really surprised. I'm really surprised that they're even in this match. How they got in there, I have no clue. They came in there with a whole lot of steam. A lot of people were really into these guys before their debut. And it seems like when they walked out on the stage and they did their entrance the way they did, and you found out that El Torito was going to be the star of this team, and it wasn't even about the two guys, Epico and Primo. I think a lot of the gas got let out of this. If you go back to that first episode of Live Main Event a few weeks ago, it was supposed to be the Usos against the New Age Outlaws. A lot of people tuned in to see that match because they thought they might get a surprise title change. Switching the titles back onto the New Age Outlaws before WrestleMania, and then maybe building towards the match where the Usos beat them at Mania, and then they just sort of played it off like that match was going to happen later due to an injury, and then they just found out that they just scrapped it completely because they wanted to take the Outlaws in a different direction. Los Matadors showed up on that show. They had a really good match against the Usos. They didn't win that one, but hopefully enough people really saw that these guys really did earn some respect. But as long as they're wearing those masks, as long as they're wearing that gimmick, they're not a team that's going to be winning the tag team gold. You've had the real American Cesaro and Swagger. It took them a long time to get noticed in the tag team division. The Usos have been doing this since probably 2010, and this is the first time they're getting the gold. These guys aren't going to get it. But then you look at the other team, Ryback and Curtis Axel. Why is this even a team? All right, I understand they were both at one time Paul Heyman guys. They were both guys that were picked to go after CM Punk, and they weren't able to do it to the point of, basically they weren't needed anymore. Paul Heyman dropped them as clients, and dumb. I mean, just why are these guys still a team? I understand that they teamed for maybe a week or two because they were trying to get back at Paul Heyman, and maybe people thought that maybe they would team up together and maybe they would like attack Brock Lesnar or try and win back Paul Heyman's love. Or I don't know, but I mean, at one point Paul Heyman was out there proposing to Ryback on Monday Night Raw, so I don't know. I don't see anything like any money, any buys, no buys in Ryback for the one part of, until he's a babyface. I don't think anybody's going to care about him again. You go back to 2011, that Monday Night Raw that I was at where it was, put on the table that CM Punk had to choose if he was going to fight Ryback or if he was going to fight John Cena for the Hell in the Cell, and they had Vince and them beating the hell out of each other, and Ryback came out at the end, and he got a huge pop. I knew that Ryback was over, but I didn't know how over he was. He was out there throwing that fucking shoulder around. Everybody remembers when Ryback was the man. As soon as they turned Ryback babyface, as soon as it, I mean, like, guaranteed dollar signs. This guy was great. He was golden. Why he never got any wins on pay-per-view, I got no clue. You go back to WrestleMania 29, I would love to erase that loss from his loss column. I mean, that is a match that honestly was a big-time game changer. I mean, like, for him to lose to Mark Henry, and I know that, like, wins and losses don't really matter in wrestling, but then, like, because especially he was the number one contender for the next pay-per-view at Extreme Rules. I'm pretty sure he was. I think that's when Ryback turned, and then after that, Mark Henry got his shot later on down the line. But I don't know. I don't really see any of these teams winning except for the Usos keeping their titles and moving on from where they are. Cesaro and Swagger would be great. Why they never won the tag titles, I got no clue. But I mean, like, you just don't put the titles on guys that you're thinking of breaking up sooner than later, especially with the tag team division and the flux that it's in. It just doesn't really make any sense. So my pick in this match is going to be the Usos. More than likely, this is going to be the dark match if they don't do some sort of NXT Invitational or something like that, or just the match that nobody gives a fuck about. I mean, like, I honestly care more about the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational than I do for this match. So, peace out. We'll go on to the next match in the next video. Peace out. Alright, here we go. Next match on the card is going to be the WrestleMania 30. This is called the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational. Honestly, AJ Lee has been champion, the Divas champion, for almost a year now. I think she won it sometime after WrestleMania last year. I think last year she was just a manager outside of the Vicky Langston and Dolph Ziggler tag match with Team Hell No, going up for the tag team championships. It was shortly after that she beat Caitlyn for the title. It was heavily rumored that last year she was going to find her way in a championship match, but they just didn't have enough time. I mean, hell, they made the match with the freaking Bellas, the dancing fat guys, Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow, and who the fuck else was that? I guess the Funkadactyls. And people have rumored that match was just named to have the heartbreak of the Total Divas, in the debut show where they were going to get bumped. Some people think that it was actually going to happen. I'm not 100% sure, but I've been like going back and forth. There's a few matches on the WrestleMania, card that you look at and you're like, is this the pre-show? Is this going to be the pre-show? In my gut, I'm guessing that the Kane and, New Age Outlaws match, I want to put that as the pre-show, but also, this is the one match that I just really don't care for at all. If they put it on the pre-show, they do. If they don't, they don't. So many times you see, big matches, like when they used to have 2 title matches, you'd have, like the World Heavyweight Championship match, then you'd have a Divas match as a spacer, and then after that, you would go into having that. But to me, honestly, Triple H and Daniel Bryan, to me, honestly, is the one match that's going to be that big gap in between that, with the winner going from that match going into the finals and wrestling in the main event with Batista and Orton. To me, Triple H and Daniel Bryan is the one match that's really going to get me fucking fired up and pumped up. I mean, if you go to WrestleMania 28, I was having a lot of fun at that show, but it was, the end of an era match, the Hell in the Cell, when they started lowering that cage down, that I just really was like, fuck yeah, I'm at WrestleMania, and I was just like, this is awesome. I was way into it. To me, I'm going to need, probably 2 matches in between. I'm thinking that more than likely, the way I'm stacking the card, if I was making it, I'd have Triple H versus Daniel Bryan later on in the show. There's some people that think it's going to be the opener, sort of like, how they did Bret Hart versus Owen way early at WrestleMania 10 in the opener, and then they stacked it a little bit to where they had Luger versus Yoko. Then they had a few more matches before they had the Bret versus Yoko at the end of the card. To me, honestly, I want to have that like almost right in the middle. I want to do Brock versus Taker right after that. I'm going to throw the Divas on after that one, and then I'm going to be pumped ready for some triple threat action at the end. I know a lot of people in the Superdome are going to be running for the can. There's probably going to be some long lines in this one. But I don't know. I think I can make it all the way through this, even though with the pre-show, I'm a kind of guy, if I go to a sporting event, if I go to WrestleMania, I'm in my seat from beginning to end. I make sure I take my breaks before and after. I didn't pay, so much money to be, looking at a bathroom wall, even if it is just for a minute waiting in line. I honestly am looking at this roster right here, and I think I know everybody, but it's going to be, like, hard for me to go through everybody. The hardest one for me is up there in the top corner. You got Emma. You got, the tag team partner, Foxana. That would be Oksana. You got Tamina. You got Cameron, Naomi, Brie, and Nikki Bella. Eva Marie. You got Summer Rae. Natalia. I haven't seen you on TV in a while. Layla, and what do you know? Oh, what is her? Rosa Mendez and Alicia Fox up there for you. Rosa Mendez, I can't even remember the last time that you were on TV. The last time I saw you was at SummerSlam, and I met you at SummerSlam Access, and even then when I was meeting you, I was like thinking then, when was the last time I saw you? I remember then when they were going to make you join Team Del Rio. That would have made a whole lot of sense to steal you away. You would have been lured in by the money. You could have been a pretty good heel manager. He probably could still use you. I don't know why they haven't put you in that role yet. Layla was away for personal reasons, and she's finally back on TV. She did the tag match with Alicia Fox there for you. Everybody knows all of the girls from Total Divas. Tamina has a storyline going where she just sort of got broken up with AJ. AJ's been pinned by a few of these girls in tag matches, and AJ blamed Tamina. Tamina and AJ had a little bit of a back and forth there for you.
It's 9 o'clock.
Thanks, buddy. I need to find out how to turn that off. I don't even remember how I turned it on. But sooner than later, I will get rid of that. But there's a few girls in here that I think really have a chance in order to get this done. Nikki, of course, everybody knows as being John Cena's guy, has a chance to come in and steal this. Brie, who's probably the most improved Divas wrestler, I think, out of this whole batch. Natalia, the girl who is the best wrestler of the whole deal, probably comes off the best on Total Divas as somebody that needs to get that push. Even though I think with Total Divas, they make her look a little bit older than she is. They try to really exploit her age as the girl is getting pushed out of the group, always sort of looking for a way to hang on. She's got beef with Summer Rae because she's a new blonde that's on the roster, even though you look over at 2 of these other girls as being blonde on this page right now as well, so that really doesn't make any sense at all. But you can see every girl fighting for their way. The Bellas made Eva Marie dye her hair on that show, even though dyeing her hair was probably the one thing that makes her step out more than anybody. Anytime you see a picture of the girls from Total Divas, to me, honestly, Eva Marie's always the one who jumps up off the page with that red hair. Summer Rae, probably a great wrestler that they've brought up through NXT. Probably want to get her exposed in a good way as being a great wrestler. With her being the new girl, they want to show off that that if you're on the Total Divas team, more than likely you're going to get used in a bigger light because they need to replace JoJo in a good way. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I know a lot of people were probably going to predict AJ to win this. A lot of people might even predict AJ to lose it because there's so many girls going up against it. I don't even know how this match is going to work. They already have one Battle Royal on there. We've seen Diva Battle Royals in the past, like WrestleMania 25, with all the girls going in there as Kid Rock was singing. I think a Kid Rock concert would make this a whole lot better in my mind. But I'm not 100% sure what to really do. I mean, part of me wants to pick Brie, a little bit of me wants to pick AJ, but I'm going to go out on a limb. My winner for right now is going to be Alicia Fox. She's my girl, dog. Who else am I going to pick? Alicia for the win. Oh, man, what's the next match? All right, everybody, and the last match added to WrestleMania 30 is going to be a 6-man tag. We're going to have The Shield going up against the New Age Outlaws and the Director of Operations for the WWE, Kane. I don't even know where to get started on this. Basically, just ever since Kane basically turned himself over to the Authority and started being the backstage ass kicker for them, I've sort of honestly really lost interest in Kane. Kane to me has never really been a character. But when I went back and I watched WrestleMania 14 and I saw his debut, I thought that was really, really awesome stuff. I thought it was really cool seeing him, as a sort of like a mystery of what he was underneath that mask. And then, they finally went through all the ways they could think of. I remember back in the day, Kane was going to join DX with X-Pac. And they were going to make up some storyline where DX was going to pay for the plastic surgery, and they were going to take the mask off of Kane so they'd be able to show off his face, and it wouldn't be all burned and messed up from the fire in the storyline. They finally went through all the troubles. Finally, Triple H beat Kane, and they forced him to unmask in the ring. And once they took it off, they used to try and put the makeup gimmick on there to make it look like his face was really burned. He had the black around the eyes and everything like that. And then finally, that just went away. Before WrestleMania 28, when John Cena was kind of landlocked into his match with The Rock, they did the whole storyline with the Rumble and the Elimination Chamber with Cena was taking on Kane. Kane went back to wearing the gimmick of having the mask. Not only did he have the mask, he had the badass welder's helmet that went away somewhere. Bring back the welder's helmet, Kane. We all loved it. But to me, honestly, it sort of brought back some of the originality of Kane. I wasn't going to be able to disband belief like I had never seen the guy without his mask before, which is kind of weird because, I look at a guy like Rey Mysterio, who wrestles all the time, and he wrestles in a mask. And when he was in WCW had the guy unmasked for a while, and it was sort of like, I know what you look like, buddy. But with Kane, it's just sort of hard to forget. He looks like a stud. However old Kane is, when he gets that old, if I look that great, I'm jealous. I've never really been that big of a Kane fan. Kane's tagging up with the Outlaws. The Outlaws are huge baby faces, yet they side with the heels all the time. I have no idea how this works. Not a lot to say about these guys. It was a real big surprise. It was a happy moment to see them win the titles from Goldust and Cody Rhodes at the Rumble, even if it was on the pre-show. They didn't hold them all that long before they dropped them over to the Usos. Why they turned down their number one contendership in order to fight for the tag titles, in order to get into the six-man, I have no clue. But you guys can see that even though they're the babyface guys, they still have a strong line that runs through Triple H and Stephanie, thanking them. Why we haven't seen X-Pac on TV, I got no clue. X-Pac, make some noise. That honestly, that'd be a better six-man to me. I understand that. What's the X-Pac have? Hepatitis, or he has some sort of blood disease, and he's not able to wrestle anymore, I guess. But if you're just able to find a way to do it, that would have been a badass match. Sorry, Kane, and you're not a big buys for me over here. But then you got the Shield. The Shield's running strong. The Shield, honestly, to me, have had very few bad matches ever since these guys came on the scene and they started wrestling in these six-man matches. I really think that they've blown away and they've been awesome. How Dean Ambrose still has that United States Championship, I have no clue. They should have found some way along the way to drop that belt off of him during the whole jealousy angle that they were running with the Shield. And now the Shield feel like they're running stronger than ever. And some people are saying that the breakup is coming, but they're going so strong right now, and they're heading on their first run as baby faces. How long are you guys going to keep these guys together? I'm all for it, but, the one thing that's always going to be in my back of my mind is when are these guys going to break up, and when is it going to matter? There is not a bigger stage to break these guys up than WrestleMania 30. People say that, Roman Reigns has become the big single star. He was the guy who plowed through everybody. Survivor Series, what other matches they had? The match with the Wyatts. Both matches with the Wyatts were really good. But, he's the guy that's really coming out and really becoming the guy that people really want to see, which was funny because when they came on the scene and they did the first run and everybody was marking out for the Shield, it was because of Rollins and Ambrose. It wasn't about Reigns at all. He just was that guy in the background. But I don't know. People are saying that once they finally break up, we'll have Ambrose, we'll have Rollins. They'll go their own way. They'll become sort of like a tag team, and then the whole thing is like, well, what are you gonna do with that U.S. Championship? Some people are saying that Reigns will fight Ambrose in a one-on-one match, and that'll be the end of the Shield. Well, the real end of the Shield. The end will be when they finally beat him down, and then Reigns will take the United States Championship. Honestly, to me, Roman Reigns winning the United States Championship is going to become the kiss of death. He's a guy that honestly hasn't lost a match, a singles match in a long, long time. He's lost a few of the tag matches for him, but in a one-on-one match with the odds, even. He's beat everybody's face. You put that United States Championship on him, he's going to find the kiss of death like Biggie Langston, like Antonio Cesaro. He might get some wins along the way, but then they're just going to start jobbing him out like crazy because you're the United States Champion. You got a belt. You can walk out there, people are going to forget that you lost last week because you got a belt. Stupid booking in my mind. WrestleMania 30. I think so many people are looking at this to be the breakup of the Shield. I think they're going to wait. Hopefully it won't be at a show like Extreme Rules or Night of Champions or something like that. Hopefully it'll be a big moment on Monday Night Raw that we can watch back for years to come and remember, when the Shield broke up. So the Shield got the win at last year's WrestleMania. They beat Big Show, Sheamus, and Randy Orton. I don't think it's that big of a memorable moment to a lot of people, so hopefully they can stand tall as babyfaces, get a big win here, and be something that we can look back on in 5-10 years and be like, hey, the Shield, they were badass. All right. Here we go.